Welcome back. Lots happening on our watch this morning. We'll get to the campaign trail in terms of local government elections in a short while. But this also big news in Gauteng. Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi has just briefed the media on the 2021 matric exam readiness as well as the 2022 online admissions. SABC News reporter Hasina Gori has the details.
As a class of 2021 gears up to write their matric examination on Wednesday, the Gauteng Education Department says it's all systems go from their side. The department has implemented new strategy to allow for the safety, security as well as health of the students as well as invigilators as they begin examinations season. With me to get more on what exactly we heard from the MEC earlier on, we have now the HOD of the Department of Education, Edwin Masuya, speaking to us now. Thank you so much. Can you speak to us on what are some of the plans that have been put in place by the department to ensure that this huge cohort that we're seeing of students that are going to be writing the matric examination do so with all the safety protocols in place and ensuring that they do it in a smooth manner?
Thank you very much. Look, we're quite ready. From the 27th of October, we're getting 175,000 of the candidates in Gauteng to write, right up to the 6th of December. So in terms of what we have put in place, one is that we have ensured that all of our examination centers are accredited. We have 1,004 of those across the province that have been accredited, and we are quite satisfied that they meet the minimum requirements. But because we are also writing exams during a COVID period, what we have had to ensure was that each of those venues would comply with the requirement, the health protocols as required for the containment of the coronavirus, and to that extent all of those sites have been certified, and we will ensure that there are no more than 30 candidates in a room. And with 30 candidates in a room, we also are going to ensure that there's a 1 meter social distancing. So those are the minimums that we have put. Every candidate that gets into a venue would have to write their names, they will have to log on, there will be proper screening and related matters, and should there be those that are found to be sick, they will be quarantined. So that is the one part as it relates to how we've made sure that from a COVID containment protocol point of view, we have been ready. Mm-hmm. But secondly, we've also ensured, if we were to be asking about the security of papers, just to give you a sense, that we are printing in Gauteng just over 2.1 million question papers for the entire duration of the exams. Now, with that huge number of papers or images that will be delivered to the province, we have to ensure that there is a clear plan that seeks to make sure that at relevant times we issue out the right question paper, but equally we make sure that the security of that question paper is improved. You know that any leak in any part of the system compromises the entire exam, and it gets the entire nation to suffer, and we have ensured that we don't contribute to that particular aspect. The last thing is that because once we have conducted examinations, we must make sure that those question papers are marked and that we are also on time. We have already selected and identified 30 marking centers in the province with over 12,000 markers that have already been appointed, and just about 12,000 what you call quality assurers. And these are young people that we've appointed from universities who will just come to add on the marks to make sure that every script that has gone through a marker is actually well captured, so that there is no learner that gets disadvantaged. So to that extent, if you look at the totality of what we're doing, question papers printed, learners prepared, exam venues ready, marking centers ready to commence with marking, COVID protocols in there. The totality of this suggests that we are ready for examinations.
Mm-hmm. If you can just go back to the security, we know that Gauteng had seen leaks, in the last few years, especially last year. There was reports of that. There was also a new system put into place to ensure that anyone that suspects that any irregularities are happening in their school or they've seen it, they now can report that. Can you talk to us about this system that's been put in place?
We want to discourage exam irregularity in all its facets, both on the side of the learners, on the side of the invigilators, but equally on the side of officials who carry and deal with question papers. And to that extent, if we were to be talking about the security and safety of question papers, we are quite satisfied because we have taken care of all of those elements in that particular regard. But secondly, we have also ensured that any learner who may be suspecting of any potential irregularity that may be happening, but not only a learner, but any other person who may be suspecting, there's a toll-free number that we will give to you that will ensure that every person can call and they will remain anonymous. And that is just but one way through which we are heightening our alertness in ensuring that throughout this process of examinations, there should not be anything that may compromise the integrity and credibility of our examination system. So we, from that perspective, we are quite satisfied, and we want to encourage everybody to be vigilant in this particular regard. But the vigilance is also to the extent that we must also make sure that during this period, anything that has to deal with the running of exams is error-free and it is maintained in that particular regard.
This is quite a stressful time, both for parents as well as learners. What kind of resources can parents or children access to ensure that their mental health during this time is also well kept?
We have partnered with Childline and other organizations because we now know that during examination period, that's when stresses come in and all related other psychosocial issues that may manifest in this period. And to that extent, with the support of Childline and other organizations, we have put that level, and we want to encourage parents and learners themselves alike. Should a learner feel that they are going under and they are not feeling particularly well at an emotional or otherwise level, we would want to encourage them to take note and contact Childline. But equally, when parents begin to see a behavior that is unbecoming or whatever the case may be from their young people or any other young person that they may know writing matric exam or any other of our exams, we encourage them to make sure that they get the immediate assistance. And in this particular regard, Childline is one of those, but any other assistance that may be available in communities, we ask them to access it immediately.
We know that this briefing was not just on the matric examination, but also on online placement. What is the number of students or learners that are still unplaced in Gauteng, and what can parents do to ensure that come 2022, that academic year, their child has a seat at a desk in a classroom?
Let's confirm first that whoever has applied on our online system will be placed. That being said, we now know that there are just about 75,000 applications of parents, and I would call parents, who are on the system that have been offered places in our schools, but they have not yet accepted the placements. And we want to encourage parents of those learners who have been given a place already and have not accepted, that they will do so. But here's another thing that we would want to say. While we confirm that everybody will get space, there are parents that have applied online but may not have submitted all the required documentation. We're asking parents to go back onto their profiles on the system, because once they log back onto the system, they will see the profiles that they created. They can check on the progress of their application, and on the system it will always indicate to them what would be outstanding. And we ask all parents who may not have uploaded all the required documentation to do so immediately, because it is only with completed documentation that the application may then be taken to the next level of processing that will then ensure placement. And the last thing that we want to say about this is that I do know that the parents and learners may be feeling anxious that I have not received an SMS yet. This is an unfolding process. It will continue until the 30th of November, and we would be wanting to say to parents they must continue to be checking on the system. And the latest that we will all be maybe worried about is that by the 30th, if they do not receive any information, that's when they may start to panic. But at this point in time, we want to assure all parents who have applied on time, whose details are on the system, that they will be contacted in due course as the process unfolds.
Thank you so much. As you heard, that was the HOD of Gauteng Education speaking to us here after that briefing with the MEC Panyaza Lesufi this morning, unpacking for us their processes as well as strategy that has been put in place to ensure that as the matriculants in the province sit for that first exam on Wednesday, all systems are in place and they're confident that the exam season for this year will go through without any hitches. Back to you in studio.